Back in March 2008, I was diagnosed with chronic hep C genotype 1. As a result of that, I had to undertake a treatment called interferon, which is a 48-week treatment, and there was no guarantees of success in relation to the treatment. At the end of the 48-week treatment, I was advised that I had failed and I didn't respond to the treatment. So at that point of time in my life, I was, and after all the research and doctor's advice, pretty much a 2 to 5 year lifespan was the expectancy I was given to live, which was a fairly depressing state of, put me in a fairly depressing state of mind. Approximately 4 months after that period, I was also diagnosed with chronic arthritis and a thing called Sjogren's syndrome, which has a direct impact on your immune system. This was a direct result of having the hep C virus in my bloodstream. As a consequence of failing the interferon treatment, I had to have monthly blood tests, fairly big ones, and two very important ones were a thing called AST and ALT, which is a cellular damage measure of your liver. At that point of time after the treatment, my levels consistently hovered around the 85 to 95 mark, with the acceptable range being less than 50. So my mental state of mind at that point of time was, yes, probably I'm going to go through that 2 to 5 year life expectancy, and that's all I have. But the main focus at that point of time was the chronic arthritis that I was suffering. It got so severe that it resulted in a couple of hand operations to free up my joints. It was so bad that I struggled getting out of bed in the morning. It physically handicapped me in the way that I couldn't walk long distances. I couldn't physically pick up my knives and forks, tie my own shoelaces, and I was suffering shockingly. I was given some fairly severe medication, which I persevered with for 12 months, and basically I was really progressing nowhere. So basically it was once again just being monitored by the specialists, and hopefully new treatments and what have you would become available, and I'll trial that. I tried arthritic creams, fish oil, all along with the medically prescribed doctor's medication. Now, as I said, I persevered with that for 12 months, all to no avail. I was introduced to a product called Protandim back in March 2011. And being sceptic, and yes, there was lots of miracle cures for arthritis and stuff around, that I was a bit reluctant in taking it. So, but anyway, persuaded to, did a little bit of research on the product, and then said, what have I got to lose? I can't live with the current condition I have. I commenced the treatment 2 weeks after starting it. I physically felt a response in the free-moving joints. My joints were becoming a lot freer, and the pain had started to subside a little bit. I continued for the next 2 weeks, and at the end of the first month I was starting to quite noticeably feel a difference, and both physically and mentally, where I could actually start walking and getting out of bed in the morning wasn't a chore, and I become a little bit more physical, which is fantastic. I thought at that point of time, and in conjunction with my doctor, decided I would start weaning off the medication that I was prescribed to convince myself it wasn't a placebo effect. So I've continued with that during the course of the next 2 months. I weaned myself off the medication totally, so I have been on Protandim now for 5 months. 2 months of that have been without any medically prescribed medication, and I haven't looked back. I'm absolutely pain-free today. I have full movement in all parts of my joints and body. I'm mentally alert, and all I can do, I'm very passionate about the product Protandim for what it's done for me arthritically. It took my focus a little bit off my liver and how my liver was functioning, and I have, as I said, I've had my blood tests monitored every month, and my ALTs and ASTs, which is the cellular damage to my liver, were coming down substantially. As I mentioned earlier, they were up to the 85 to 95 mark, with the acceptable range being under 50. So progressively, since commencing Protandim, my liver, my ALTs and ASTs have come down to below 20, just below 20, which is an outstanding result.